It's clear we're at a point of disagreement. And many people have tried to politicize this, but you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. This is not political. This is purely economic, based on the expertise of 40 or 50 years of mapping and trends. We do not engage in the politics of anyone. We engage simply as a balancer and a stabilizer of the economy through the energy market, as we've done historically.
Well, let me provide as a counter-argument to that the White House perspective. The White House has accused Saudi of siding with Russia. Is the kingdom siding with Russia?
You know, the kingdom has a policy of engaging with everybody across the board, those we agree with and those that we disagree with. The relationship that we had with Russia is what allowed us to free prisoners of war, 2 Americans, 5 Brits, 1 Croat, and a selection from other countries. We view our role as a mediator and a communicator. We've supported Ukraine humanitarianly. We have given over 400 million. We collaborated with Ukraine and Poland to give 10 million to allow for the refugees that were coming out of the Ukraine and spilling into Poland a safe landing. That's what we do. That's the value of our engagement. Is it siding with Russia? No.
Have you personally spoken to the administration about this? What's the communication?
I deal very regularly with the administration, and frankly, it's an administration that I have profound respect for. I have only had the most gracious and direct communication, as we should. That's how partners communicate with each other. And by the way, it's okay to disagree. We've disagreed in the past, and we've agreed in the past. But the important thing is recognizing the value of this relationship.
Can the kingdom do without a relationship with Washington?
Becky, the world can't do without a relationship with the United States of America. Have no doubt, the United States is the United States. For 80 years, it has been our strategic ally. For 80 years, it has been our partner. You know, I hear a lot of people talk about reforming or reviewing the relationship with the kingdom, and I think actually that that's a positive thing. This kingdom is not the kingdom it was 5 years ago. It's not the kingdom it was 10 years ago. So every piece of analysis that existed is no longer relevant. We are a young population. We have young leadership. We have an aspiration and a goal to engage with the world in a way we never did before.
You are no stranger to the US Capitol. You spent years there when your father was the then ambassador, Prince Bandar. How did your time in Washington as a youngster inform who you are now?
Living in Washington, D.C., and particularly in diplomatic circles, and we were there for 23 years, from when I was 7 years old to 30. You're immersed in something that you don't even know is happening. The people that surrounded us, the conversations we listened to, the things my father included us in, at that time, I honestly didn't appreciate that I was watching history happen. And that's so important when you're dealing with the relationship of the United States and the kingdom. If you don't contextualize it in history, you will not understand why it's important that we remain strong and steady and cool-headed in this partnership that's been 80 years, and the next 80 years can be magnificent if we allow it.
Can you really be more hopeful about a more effective alliance going forward?
I can. Becky, I can, because there are things within Vision 2030 that the kingdom has invested in that I feel the world isn't seeing. Number one, yes, we are one of the largest oil producers in the world, but the kingdom is reframing itself to be one of the largest energy producers. We have put billions of dollars in investments in renewables, solar, wind, anything you could possibly imagine, we're betting on it. Why, Becky? Because the kingdom within Vision 2030 has an initiative called the Saudi Green Initiative, which is our gift for the next generations, not just of our country, but of the world. And we are doing it in balance of the oil market, because you cannot walk away from one until the other is ready. And by the way, our commitment is to have 50% of our domestic energy needs met by renewables by the end of this decade. Not 50 years from now, now.
That narrative that says here in the kingdom, Vision 2030 aligns success with sustainability, has been met with some skepticism.
Correct. Fair enough. Why? Because it takes time to build these things. It takes time to transform. It takes time to reform. You know, a lot of people talk to me about, are the reforms true? Are they true? Well, I have to tell you honestly, Becky, I left the United States in 2005, where they were still arguing about gun control and abortion rights and healthcare, and I came back in 2019 to the same conversation. And I leave a kingdom where in 5 years we've had more change than we've had in 80 years, where women's rights are at the forefront, where female inclusion is at the forefront. And have we finished? No. We've designated 2030 to be a point that we want to aim to get the maximum done, but guess what happens in 2030? The next round of change has to happen because the next generation comes up and says, thank you, but here are my needs. We are simply getting ourselves caught up with the world. And you have to give us time because transformation, doesn't happen in a day. The United States had a 200-year journey of transformation. We've had 80. We're different people in a different place, and we are going to get there because we believe in the same thing. We believe in the sense of opportunity for our people. And we're very proud of the changes that have happened.